burns. Hey-o. Right before I jumped on, I Visine my eyes. I Visine them. Or, you know, my eye drops. So it's going to look like I'm crying. I'm not crying. I'm not crying. But, yeah. So they wouldn't burn. How you doing? All right. I don't know if that's... Does this sound okay? Just sound check. Hey, Jenna. Thank you. Was it seriously, Joan? No, I'm not even joking. That never is planned. Never. And I noticed when that happens. I didn't notice it. I did not. That's wild. Oh my God, it was. That's so cool. Confirmation, right? Right? Given the last couple of days that we had. Hey, Lilani, how are you? How did everybody get through the last few days? Everybody get through it okay? Little rough, a little turbulent. Hi, Abby. Hey, Gail. Because it was a very, very powerful, the planets were aligned. 300-year alignment. And a lot. I would have been on here. I didn't see it. Oh, yeah. Hey, Muffy. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, I've been trying to be better about posting on Discord when I go on, because turns out a lot of people don't get the notification. So, yeah, these last few days. So a good reason why, so I do try to go live like every other day or something like that, but sometimes I skip a day. And that is important a little bit. Thank you, Lilani. Because it's been anybody else feel, I mean, I don't even want to have to explain it. Like, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, everybody had to have felt, because everyone I was talking to was feeling like this uptick, and just like and it had, believe it or not, had not much to do with the political climate. You know, it's just like this uptick in energy, and yeah, little rough. Or realizations or confirmations or whatever it is for you. Something energetic that feels, and so, and I talk about this a lot because, yeah, messes with your sleep. Yeah. Today, my heart, which I don't get this a lot, my heart was beating. Yep. So yes, exactly. So the alignments, depending on where you are, they're spanned out, but yes, this is an alignment. There is and I'm going to give everyone a little bit of a heads up of at least my belief of what this is bringing forth. And this has been through months and maybe even years, but I'll say at least the last few months. We've all been kind of working towards an understanding of something. And I know it's confusing. It goes back and forth. There's all this garbage being thrown at us in our actual lives in politics and policy and stuff. But I've been very open to be allowing myself to be guided a little bit more to what I should be looking at or what I should be thinking on. And I kept going back to, and I mentioned this to you guys before, I kept going back to the reason that I felt that I needed to talk about gender and the balance and, you know, the feminine and the importance of the duality and all this stuff. And that's been something I've had it. And I know that not everybody enjoys that conversation. I'm going to say it straight up. I know not everybody enjoys that conversation. In particular, my guys. And not, just to be clear, you do or you don't. And either my guys that watch me really enjoy it. Because in that, hey, laugh it out. In that discussion, it isn't about male versus female. Masculine and feminine are in both, in both, and everything in between. It's, but I kept being called to do it. And what I think is happening right now is I have discussed, and many others have discussed, and we've all discussed the return of the matriarch, okay? And how the matriarch doesn't leave anyone behind. It doesn't seek to oppress. It doesn't harm anyone, okay? And why was it a return? Like, this wasn't and for most of us, like, this would be the dawn of something, the dawn of the rise of the divine feminine, not the return, right? But why were so many of us saying the return? Someone asked AI the likeliness of the matriarch. Ooh, what'd it say? What'd it say? I am curious about that. But additionally, I want to find, yeah, if that's a video, you should send it to me. Thank you, Ronnie. Yes. Yeah, perfect, Jenna. Thank you. I kept saying the return, okay? And I'm a person that understands, I really enjoy history and I really enjoy world history. But I kept saying the return. And then I was finding these little pieces of matriarchal communities and whatever. And we all know that we've been piecing this together. In the last couple of days, I've had to brace for the realization of just how big this is. Like, just how big. Why I was saying return and why that was confusing to even me. Given the history that we all know, like given the history that has been shared with us, and even when you do some digging, you're not really finding a lot of matriarchal societies that are known. You have to really trudge through a lot to find that. So I now know beyond a shadow of a doubt why I said, and many of us were saying, the return of the matriarch. Okay. Because it's based on Mayan and Aztec history. In part, but there's more to it. There's more to it. A lot. You see, these ancient civilizations that you just mentioned, and I do believe that the Mayans were wildly civilized and advanced. Their math is still something that we can't really understand. Hence the world not ending in 2012. But they had a really beautiful and elegant math, numerology system. I'll say it like that. And they were very skilled astronomers, very skilled. And I mentioned this to you guys before. There's not a single world wonder in the world that is a wonder, that has always been a wonder. It all has purpose. Yes, the cycles, exactly. So let me break this down as gently as I can, because it actually did clear up some things while I had a moment of kind of deciphering some grief. I think that's the best way to put it. We grieve things that when we find out that something was much worse than what we thought, and it can feel like anger, it can feel like betrayal, it can feel like all these things, but it's grief. It's grief, and anger, hurt, So many civilizations, and I'm going to say this straight up, this is going to be almost impossible to find, and this is just my perception of what I was shown. Many civilizations, I'd say the predominant, a lot of them, all over the world, everywhere, way more than what I even myself thought, were matriarchal. Okay. Now this makes sense given that in our biology, when we go back to our DNA and who the first humans were, they were female, they were women. What we would consider modern day black women. Okay, that's just what happens. When you trace human DNA far back as you can go, it will go to what we would consider a black woman. So this means that the Y chromosome had to have been introduced, or that Earth changed it, Earth created it, which dealer's choice of what happened, However, so by the time the Y chromosome was either introduced or whether Earth evolved it, what did happen was civilizations had already formed. Women were taking care of themselves. They weren't idiots, Women were forming civilizations. And what I'm going to say is the return of the return of the divine feminine is a return to the balance. And if it isn't done, and it will be done very soon. It is happening. Like, it's happening. It's not even, it isn't any person's doing. I'll just say that. This is beyond us. I'm going to make that very clear. Get this. It was known as it was being stolen and hidden and brutalized, quite literally, quite literally, that there would be a return. Now, what's interesting is we see a lot of the return of things, the return. Yes, Theo. See, the age of Pisces that we were in just before Age of Aquarius was the age of what if. The age of Aquarius is the age of I know. I know. Now, it's what we do after we know. After we know. And this bit of information of understanding how much was done, to the caliber in which it was done. And this goes into politics, this goes into spirituality and religion. Big time, major. So we talked before about hi, good to see you back. We talked before about how the pagans didn't call themselves pagans. They didn't call themselves that. They called themselves the people or the folk, you know. And the practice that they practiced wasn't called any specific type of anything. It was called the way. The way. And when we hear things like like druids, okay, if you're on this journey, the word druid or the information about druids or druidesses or whatever they would call them are going to start entering because it's going to play in. Do you guys know that the majority of druids, when we think of druids, we think of these, we get the image, right? We get this Viking, usually male, you know, but not always, looking, you know, even though in large part, their goddesses were just that, goddesses. And the highest of that was the mother of creation, the woman. They called her different things. Now, the woman was all-encompassing. Okay, the woman was, and when I say this was a feminine energy, not necessarily, but anybody can take that the way they want. But she was who oversaw everyone to keep the balance. And what I'm going to say is that we talked a lot about the forceful conversions and indoctrinations that happened all over. And how women were not even allowed or encouraged to read up on said religion as it entered or as they were converted. Nobody did, you know. Remember, we only had this book translated into the English language. It was only in Latin, Hebrew, Greek, I think Arabic. I think it did go into Arabic. Translated from Aramaic, which was a dead language. They took the Greek version and translated the Greek version into English, okay? Which was not that long ago. I mean, just a handful over 400 years, something like that. So to understand the book, you had to have a priest or a preacher. You see what I'm saying? So most people didn't know what was actually said. Well, if you worship something or are forced into worshiping something and you don't understand what it actually is, you're reliant on somebody to reiterate what it says. Could I say stuff to suit a fancy a little? Yeah. But not only that, it wasn't really encouraged for women to read it, even if they could read the language. It was far too complex for women. Now, the reason I'm bringing this stuff up is we're seeing a lot happen with the divide of gender and how we're going to go. And a part of this is because, and I believe that they knew. I believe that that is in large part why so many of us that are waking up and going, what the hell, and why are we doing this, are realizing, and this is men included, that this is a dominant, violent, patriarchal, capitalist system that harms everyone, regardless. Yes. So, would have been better translated through Latin. Yeah? Not Greek. I'm not being mean. I'm just saying all scholars would agree. How do you know Indian tribal stuff? I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway. I know I'm not even being, I'm like, I don't know where we're going with that one, but I didn't say anything. But yeah, they didn't teach women to read it, and they were like, everybody has to, learn this. But what what I'm saying is that we're not the only ones that know that this return is happening. I've said this a lot. I've said we're not the only ones that know that this awakening's happening, that a lot of us are here, although they are finding out. We're not the only ones that know that this return, this grand return is happening. It's been predicted many times. Thank you, Jenna. Many times while the very people who were being forcibly converted or harmed or brutalized in whatever way were having that done to them, they continuously said that it would return. That one day the world would become so bad, there would be so much suffering, that the mother would return. Mother of mothers, remember, that was something I just kept saying, the mother of mothers. So, last night, I had been looking into some things, and it got me very, for lack of a better words, got me a little angry. Got me a little angry at how long this has gone on and how complacent so many people have been in it. And I had this feeling, I had this, like, I can't describe it to you. It was just something just popped me right in the head, in a good way. And it was just like this fire. And I keep feeling this like fire, okay? The mother of mothers. I keep seeing this woman too. We'll have to talk about that later. There's a woman, an image anyway. What I'm getting at is that this rise of the divine feminine, which I still see happening, I still see people talking about, but not to the caliber it needs to be, because it is so important to the evolution of our species. It is so important to what we're about to see, and it's so important to how we move and thrive as a society from here on out. The recognition of the importance of the balance. And this is going to happen, incidentally, at a time where they're going to be pushing women down and kicking their teeth in and rattling them as much as they can. To turn you off, to put you in a place of fear. And do we remember, putting someone in a place of fear shuts off areas of their brain that, communicate with intuition, that feel. Because when you're in fight or flight, you get very vigilant about your surroundings. You become very primal. Okay, it's what happens to the brain when it's afraid. But if you can suspend that for a moment and connect, you can see, you can feel that there's this energy. This energy, and it's not with just the legislation. It's not with, no. This has been going on before that. We know this, right? I've talked about this. Others have talked about this before. All of this new stuff has happened. Because the anger is normal. The anger is warranted to a point. Okay? Absolutely shameless. But here's what I'm going to say about that. You're 100% right. But I want you guys to imagine, and because I can feel the essence of this woman. I felt it before, but it came in, and that's what popped me in the head last night. Imagine if this woman, the mother of mothers, the divine, this being could come and speak to every woman right now, and you knew the history of what's happening right now, what do you think she would say? In the time that we're at, with very little wiggle room to be complacent. Absolutely laugh it out. What do you think she would say to women? Thank you, Marnie. And the reason I'm saying this is exactly, Abby, as a nurturer, yes. But none of this is, I'm so sorry. Even though that element's there, none of this is, you poor baby. None of this is, it's never been fair. None of this is consoling the way some might take it. Yeah. All of this is a matter of rise up. And this is the type of, we know that aspect of maternal instincts and maternal parenting, where you have the nurturing side, but you also have sometimes the side that needs to come out sometimes, the one that tells you to be strong, to be brave, to show courage, to rise up, to stand up, to fight for yourself, fight for others. That's what she's screaming right now. And this came at a time where over the last few days I've been watching, trying not to, but I've been watching what's been going on. Exactly. The most compassionate thing we can do for people a lot of the time is to be firm with them, to not coddle them, because it won't be helpful. It won't be helpful for us to be coddled, because if you imagine belittling an entire demographic to where they feel small, helpless at times. Right now, that fire everyone's feeling, where they're like, I feel that I should be doing something, and I feel this has gone on long enough, and I feel this is not okay. Well, that is what I feel. Hey, Bailey. That is what at least, I know I'm not alone, I feel is being said to us. I saw that video that went around of that woman who got dragged out of the town hall meeting. Did you guys see that? Anybody see that? Dragged out. Turns out she was a doctor, and she was telling the person in town hall that they were not answering questions. They did not answer her question. Okay. So this was a woman in a town hall, which I don't know if you're familiar with town halls, but town halls kind of a, you get to ask questions to politicians and people who run, And he didn't answer her question. She called that out. And the politician, or whomever it was, said, you are all just the crazy people here, or something along those lines. And then two men come over and start forcibly removing this woman. I want to note really briefly that this woman was, okay, why is that important? Because there's a lot of who are looking at women and going, what in the hell? And I saw videos like this. Like, if they'll do that to you guys, think what they'll do to us. That would never have happened if we were there. That would never have happened. That doesn't, and we see this. We see demographics who've been targeted and marginalized actually rise up, regardless of consequence, when they see somebody being targeted. Not one woman or man stopped that from happening. In fact, there were cheers and claps and all kinds of stuff. Now, I want to say this isn't about what she was, I don't know what she was speaking on. I didn't watch that part, but I don't care. She could have been saying something that conflicted with my political beliefs and whatever. That's never okay. What's more disturbing is, you know what, I'll say this very lovingly. Expect more of that. Expect more, see more of that. More silencing. What I'm not going to encourage or expect from women is to sit or be complacent or clap when something like that happens. Don't. If we haven't gotten ourselves there to realize where we're at, where we're really at, all of us, I got news. You got a very, very short span of time to collectively let that snap. Let it click in. I never want to see a woman be forcibly removed by two aggressive men and nothing being done. I've told you guys that the patriarchy requires, the violent part of it, the dark part of it, requires complicity from a demographic. From a certain demographic of women, and without it, it falls. Help your sisters, all of them. Help them, because if, God forbid, if there was ever a time where you were being unjustly silenced, thank you, Valma, unjustly touched, forcibly harmed. She even said, you're hurting me. And your sisters don't rise up on your behalf. I'm not shaming men about this. I'm not. Yes, I do think that a man stepping up to pull the man off, it would have been great. But I'm done expecting that. I'm just not. I'm not relying on, I'm not. But I do expect women. relentlessly. And this isn't just to, by the way, this isn't about, exactly. This isn't about what's being said or what, this is about silencing. This is historic. This is ancestral. This is ancient almost, the silencing. And if we're complicit, it's done. Now I expect other people, the other demographic. I shouldn't expect that. I should expect that they are, but we're not talking about that. I'm talking to women. I've said this before, I'm not alone, that many of us are here to help women, because there's going to be a lot of women that are going to be in less than desirable situations, and it's up to us to help. It's up to all of us to help one another, support one another. But we're not stopping for the ones that are waltzing themselves like lambs to the slaughter. If you think that's okay, if you think it's okay to put your hands on someone because you disagree with them, or they disagree, or remove them. Like this aspect of politics, it's so far beyond that. It's so far beyond that I don't know what this woman was actually saying. And it isn't important. She could have been saying something completely against my political beliefs. And I still think the way that she was treated was inappropriate and unjust. Simple, because it's beyond that. I want you guys to remember how much, I know, they sure did. Mm-hmm. They did shine. They cheered him on. I've had a lot of grappling with Americans, and I feel that we're very pampered in a lot of ways. We're very blessed in some ways to not have had a lot of really terrible things happen on our soil. But on the same note, I think that I worry that the fact that we haven't, and when I say this, I'm not discrediting the Civil War, but let's just say we're not constantly. Yeah. Okay. No, I won't leave. Here's why. My ancestors died here, so I will too. It's not absurd to expect more from a country, or you just be complacent. I am never going to tell people, never. If you're complacent in this, I'm not speaking with you. Like, we don't have anything to share. We don't have anything in common. Like, you're allowed to be complacent in this world. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Enjoy. Knock yourself out. Please. There you go, Stancer. Thank you. Okay. See, I'm not going to go into that, like, the border conversation, because I already know, and we're not going to do that. Because here's the thing. That if that's the hill that you want to keep on, knock yourself out. Like, knock yourself out. But do you know how many millions of Americans are undocumented in Mexico alone? Let alone. Perpetual victim. Yeah. Girly, too. So you know what I love about this? Is you guys come in here with your whole chest and just fucking prove my points. Just really just explode my exact point. With your whole chest. Thank you. I can't write it. I appreciate that. It's easy. I know, you guys. Every freaking time. Well then, little lady. Why don't you... Wow, I was just talking about that. How weird. I'm glad you showed up. You'd think people have asked me back in the day if I paid people to do this. No, I don't know people. I don't know people that could do that. I know. Perpetual victim. I think that's interesting. And I say this. That is a bold statement to say to a person like me. Bold. It has nothing to do. Yeah. So what's my, yeah, it has nothing to do with the fact, wow, you are going everywhere. You are taking it all the places. Now we're going into gender. Is there's got to be something else. Maybe perhaps you'd like to jump into the box and we can have a chat. Do you like that? I know, all over. No, I love it. Go ahead. Show yourself. Show yourself. Because I can't write this. And when I tell people this is how people are behaving, it may seem like I'm a perpetual victim, but when you come in and you just eat it up, how can anyone call me a perpetual victim while actively proving my point? Do you want in? Yeah, no. I have a big forehead. It's been said before. Somehow you think I skirted my teenage years and my childhood years. Do better without knowing that. Do you want to jump in the box? Have a chat? Tell me about the border. I would love if you would, because I've been there 9 times, so I hope you can compete with 9 times and you're not going to parrot. Girls get is this everything you got? Is that I'm on the gender spectrum? Oh, homie, by the way, it's never fared poorly for me, so. But let's go ahead and have a look. Let's have a look. Yeah. Oh. You want to come into the box and we'll chat about it? You seem to have a lot of things to say. Come on. Come on. You're big and tough. Let's have a chat where you don't use a keyboard. And we'll go back and forth. We'll actually have a discussion. We can talk about history. We can talk about the border. Shit, we can talk about being male or female. We can talk about the masculine and the feminine, which men have as well. We can break that down. But I will say this, only big dogs can roll with me. So, are we still there? Did we run? Did we run and go by? Did you get scared? You got scared when I asked you to just have a dialogue in the box? You good? All gone? Left? All right. Why does that happen too? That happens a lot. Yeah. That happens a lot. We get a lot of those who are very strong, and then they won't come in and have a discussion, and then they'll report me repeatedly. And I'm the victim. I'm the perpetual victim. I'm the weak one, right? See, here's the thing. What I was speaking on was about, quite literally, that we're not the only ones. And by the way, if you can't tell, it scares. It scares quite a few. Yeah. James, I probably think that's true. But it scares. Even though, by no stretch of the word, am I out, and luckily so, to get any type of crazy revenge on the harm done historically, ancestrally, to demographics outside of one. But I'm not even a person who does that. I'm not even a person that wants this revenge and drudges up everything. I'm just a person that says, this is happening. And it shouldn't frighten you unless you are one of the people that seek to harm. And I am I love this. The fact that guys come in here and they think that I want to be a man. That's what you just want to be a man. No, I'm actually very in touch and very, I love my feminine side. Like, in no way is it a weakness or an insult. When you go there, as if you're proving that if I want to be a man, but I'm just a girly, you are quite literally proving that there is a hierarchy of the two genders. That's what you're saying anyhow. And what do you care? He's long gone, but my God, you can't write this stuff. And this is one of many. He's not the only one I'll come across. Funny how I don't get it in person a lot. It is exhausting. It's exhausting and it's unnecessary. it's unnecessary on multiple levels because it's very simply, I can admit that certain things happen that in demographics that I'm not a part of. I can just admit that it happens. I can admit that targeting happens outside of me. It does, you know. But this inability to at least acknowledge, thank you, Abby, I see you subscribing, to at least acknowledge anything that I'm saying as having any credence, but not just that, going into personal attacks that you think are attacks by feminizing me. My feminine is my strongest part. My masculine is my ability to act. And it's there. My feminine is everything else I'm built with. And it's fucking iron. That's it. It is iron. So I hope that everyone who feels a certain type of way starts to remember and embody their feminine, because it's your strength to not behave like a buffoon. There you are. Come on. You heard what I said. That's so nice. Come on. Seek help, girly. Girly. So you just, like, I literally just pointed out how you did that in a derogatory way, and you did it again, and you proved my point again. Like, I don't know if you're intentionally doing this, dude, or not. Can you just show up? You know what? Go ahead. Show up in my lives occasionally when I'm talking about this and behave like yourself. And just do it. But the thing that I'm getting at is no. I'm going to say this. I'm not distracted. And these men, and I hope he's still in here, and any other man listening, need to listen and need to hear themselves put into check by a strong woman, because I am not the only one. I'm not the only one. And it shouldn't intimidate or threaten you. It shouldn't. I have plenty of guys who watch me. I have plenty of followers. Dawn's in here now. So this isn't a matter of hating or targeting men. This is a matter of embodying an aspect that women can and should, and all men should expect to see. Hits a little different, doesn't it? You see, because one aspect of a woman is, and I'll say this, my feminine allows me to think a little bit before I speak. But not just that, not just thinking about it, but like, I don't say things out of, believe it or not, out of erratic and deregulated emotion. When I say things, I mean it. Okay. So it hits hard when somebody can look at you, even through a screen, invite you to the discussion that you can't be a part of while you're insulting them. Fix the wound, heal yourself, and I mean this very lovingly. You will be a better person for it. And demonizing your feminine is demonizing your strength. And it doesn't matter whether you use a urinal or not. You have a feminine, as do I, that I'm very proud of. So little ladying me is not going to hurt my feels. I understand what comes from my feminine. So it's never an insult, though that's how the attempt was made. My masculine is just my ability to act upon it. That's it. Very important. Very important. But doesn't win all. You see. What built me up into this person, that might be a little bit hard to pin on gender, because my God, I made a video about this today with the Republican makeup app that I accidentally hit. I was watching a woman's video who had it, and I was cracking up, and I accidentally hit it. And as soon as I did that, it opened up and wanted me to make a video, and it put the Republican makeup on me. And I laughed so hard, and immediately Goodbye Horses came in, which again made me think this is where their inspiration's coming from. But you see, I It doesn't look good. No, look, I have no problem saying it. No. Feminine, by the constructs that we in the society has defined it, is not, by the way, lipstick and you know, that's not it. That's not it at all. By the way, this, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, to everyone threatened, this is the feminine. I know you were told different. This is the feminine. The feminine that's fresh out of fucks. That is like, you know what? Walk 1 mile in my shoes and come talk to me about a perpetual victim. Walk 1 mile in any woman's shoes. The demographic with the most privilege, but can't stop crying over every skin knee. That's tough now, isn't it? And here's what I'll say. I'm not here to baby or placate anyone. Not even a little. Your feminine is your strength. Your feminine is your ability. Your ability to remain composed through excruciating pain. That's your feminine. So yeah, we see a lot of people walking around not behaving with composure during not just excruciating pain, but, you know, remain composed over very small things that might happen. So imagine how you'll fare next to people who can remain composed during excruciating moments. Yeah. So it's important that these types come in, because these are the types that are going to be screaming at the top of their lungs as certain things that make them feel empowered, because empowering yourself isn't going to be enough because you've already demonized the feminine side of you. The side where your strength comes in. Yeah. Patriot forever. Dude. Chill. Now I'm a dude. Oh, you heard me talking. You heard me talking about how the female insults weren't insulting, and now it's dude. I'm gonna say this: you're wasting your time. You'll be one of many triggered men that are gonna come in here, and I don't want to trigger men. I don't. But my God, it's like comical. I have to say something. I have to type something, because why wouldn't I? I have something to say. I don't like this. This is threatening. I have to type something. I must. Somebody must hear my voice because it's important. No. Yeah. Lesbian. Joey, you could take a guess, you know. And again, it doesn't matter. I know it's another one that's real triggering. Here's what I'm going to say. What I enjoy about this, thank you, Jenna. What I enjoy about this and not enjoy is, that's a good one, is that there's going to be a large group like this, and I already know how well you guys fare. I've seen you in all kinds of situations. Okay? I know. Are you the husband or the wife? I really got her there. Him. Ha 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 ha. Yeah. You know, I came out in high school, and high schoolers had better zippers than that one. So, unless you're 16, you shouldn't be in here. So anyway, see how tall you are. Yeah, we're just gonna stop there, Joey. Heal that wound, sir. Ma'am, I'm not quite sure. You are a grown-ass man, Joey. Joey, you're a grown-ass man with a child around you, and this is how you behave? Like, literally. I expect it from little, you know, but you have a child. You are teaching your child this stuff. Please work on that. Please. I'm not being dead fucking serious. I'm being dead ass right now. Fix it. If you have a child around you, fix that hate. That woundedness. That child. Like, fix it. Thank you, Alani. Do way better. My God, do better. No wonder we raise these. Ugh. I mean, you have people like that. It's mind blowing. Anyway, moving on. This is the thing we're going to experience a lot more. When, mind you, I was simply talking about the return and the rise of the divine feminine and how men had it as well. Men, the male feminine is where their strength comes in. Okay, their mental fortitude, their empathy. Men have that. Should they want to? But because we've, in the patriarchal society, decided to highlight and elevate the masculine and not even understand what it means, not even a little. This is a toxic masculine. But this is the response when we just talk about the feminine being important and the rise of it, the duality that's necessary. That's how threatened some of you are by that discussion. And you think that you're going to fare well against people who have a demographic that has had all negative things said about their entire being by what reproductive organs they have, by the fact that they don't use a urinal, had their healthcare messed with, had everything happen to them. You think you're going to fare well against them? Are you kidding me? Please tell me you had, there's not one person, one of you guys that doesn't have a strong mom. I mean, I just know it, dude. Just, oh my God. Where's justice? Actually, that's a really good statement. You're actually pretty spot on. We're raised to believe the feminine sexualization of being beautiful is how we're led to relieve love. Yeah. The feminine is a physical thing, a complementary thing to the higher ruling thing. That's what it is. The subservient thing, the helper. I want to be very clear. It's actually the other way around. Okay. And again, this is not whether you use like the fact that we associate all masculine and feminine with reproductive organs is already incorrect. That's already wrong. Okay. But the fact that then after that we demonize people with certain reproductive organs and demonize that side of ourselves, make it a bad thing. And then go, this isn't jealousy. This isn't this isn't that. What? Every male has a feminine. Every male has an X chromosome. You have to, because the Y chromosome can't live alone. Quite literally. It's biological and how society defines it. It's not in real life, though. It's not what it actually is. Like, you can carry duality having both either reproductive organs. That's it. You can't. And you don't have to look like me to do it as a woman. Like, not at all. Like, I'm just more of a physical representation of it. You don't have to. Why we don't look at all people as being... I agree, Rihanna. I agree. The thing is that there are certain people, and they're the ones that typically aren't quite as strong with themselves or healed with themselves, who it's kind of like a participation trophy. You see? Like, don't take it, even though everything is showing that it really doesn't mean anything. Like, it doesn't mean that I'm better at things. It doesn't mean that I can... It really doesn't. But don't take it because society gives me privilege for it. Don't take it. But then I'll deny the privilege. You can't redefine... GhostScript, are you familiar with the human genome and chromosomes? I am very. And I can have a discussion with you so that we can make sure that you don't think that you can redefine biology. I'm very well versed in biology. Like, very well versed. So if you think that there's just this and this, we're probably not going to be in the same league, buddy. I wouldn't do it. But if you want to, we can. But I do know on a molecular level, biologically, we are on a spectrum. I know, science. It's so weird, so scary, so bad. We are on a spectrum. A lot happens in utero. And guess what? This shouldn't be insulting to you. This shouldn't be something that's bad news to find out. If you find that out and you think, oh, I'm not 100% this, I'm not 100% biological male, and because that's a bad thing, then I already know your duality is not going to happen. But there are plenty of men who it will, and so I'm not talking to the ones who it won't. Keep it up. But what I do want to see is, we'll move on from this now, is what I do want people to see is this is going to be the response from a lot of people, okay? A lot of these types. And it's going to be responses from people maybe you wouldn't even expect, okay? People in elected office even. We're already seeing that. And in truth, I have parameters I have to follow on this app, you know? I have to be a little careful. There are fields involved. People can't be objective. People want to sling mud without being fully informed. But this is what I'm going to say, is it's not something that can be stopped because it makes you uncomfortable. The world doesn't suffer because you are too uncomfortable without your privilege. But you can't stand without it being on somebody's neck. Thank you, Texas Mimi. You can't. And if I require someone's neck for me to stand upright, am I the biggest, baddest, and strongest in the world? No. Yes, elected officials, yeah. I mean, we're seeing this. This stuff's in legislation. That's not like a reach. It's not a reach. Like, and I'm not going to go through all the things because it's just, if you're not paying attention or you're being that, yeah, I can't. We're not going to. Exactly. And this is what I want to say, though. Is it's important not only for those men who are bothered by this to see that this won't be some subservient, handmaid's situation that you might hope that it is. Thank you, Tex. It's not, because here's why. There are many women who embody the confidence that don't look like me. They're maybe a little bit more unsuspecting. You see someone like me and you think that because I speak confident I want to be a man. No, I'm wholeheartedly saying I have no issue with men. I am in touch with my masculine. But I understand the value of my feminine very much. It's what built me up. So you're going to see a lot of this pushback, this fire, coming from the little ladies you wouldn't expect it from. And how will you fare? How will you fare? This isn't something that I am doing. Mark, I'm not even having that conversation because the trans conversation is not even where I'm going. Thank you, a ghost answer. It's not even where I'm going. And in truth, this isn't a trans thing. Because here's what I want to be clear. So here let's make it clear. As we all know, and I'll just go ahead and admit, I was born assigned female, okay? Not a bad thing. You do know I wear some makeup too. I'm not like... Anyway, moving on. So, would you be afraid if I was in the restroom with you, sir? If I went in to use the restroom, would you fear? Would you fear it? Would you be nervous that I'd harm someone in there? Like if you see me in the men's restroom, I go into the men's restroom, go into a stall, would you be like, oh, not at all? Oh, okay. But you would be afraid if a trans woman who was assigned male at birth went into a woman's room. That scared you. And this is a transgender thing, not a fear of men thing. You guys walk into this every time, by the way. Every time. Not at all, because you can't wait to tell me. Not at all, because don't you dare think that. That isn't where I'm going. Not at all. You prove my point. Is if I, because people like to assume yes, I'm trans. There we go. You're not afraid of me because statistics show that assigned females tend to not do anything. statistics also show that trans women don't even hit the mark. But what they do definitely show is that cisgendered males do quite a bit. So, in a bathroom with your daughter, it is not, yes, you'd be scared that I would harm your daughter, because statistically, statistics show that, I don't know. And Mark, here's what I'll say. I believe in autonomy of people. I do. But we seem to have this issue with reassigning blame and where the attention needs to go. And my community's just fucking done doing it. Like, it's just done doing it. This isn't a trans issue. It's not a gay issue. It's none of that. It's not even a bathroom issue. This is a fear of men issue. This is why we don't have changing rooms in men's rooms. And why 99% of men would say they would not change their daughter's diaper in a man's room, in a men's restroom. Riddle me that. I'm being serious. Like, riddle me that. Would you change your daughter? You just said you had a daughter, so would you change her diaper when she was young in a men's room? In an open? Because that's how they are in the women's rooms, usually. They're not always in a stall. They're sometimes right in there. You would change your daughter's diaper in a men's room. Okay, you're the first person to say yes. Out of everyone I've ever asked, you're the first one. As an infant, you would. Okay. Knuckling down on this. Okay. Did you ever? Did you ever do it? Did you ever change your daughter's diaper in the men's room? No. I'm going to go ahead and say that you didn't. Here's why. Yeah. You probably didn't because you left it up to somebody else first. Second, you wouldn't have. Because even if you were like, I'm fine doing this, you would have preferred that it be done in the women's room for some reason. And the reason I'm going to say that I know you haven't is because there was a big deal the one time that Ashton Kutcher, whatever the hell his last name is, went to a baseball game and couldn't change his child's diaper because he was alone. And there were no changing rooms anywhere in the men's room. And he was in kind of a pickle. Now, I want to say this. I don't necessarily disagree with changing rooms in the men's rooms. Okay, I don't. Like, you know, because of that exact situation. How can a father take their child out if they needed to have a change? They can't very well, as we know, go into the women's room. Thank you guys. But in a stall, you know, where he felt comfortable, sure. But you'd be the first guy to ever say, oh yeah, I'd do it. Every other guy has said no. And the reason that it wouldn't have happened is because it just doesn't. That's great. See, what I'm not going to do is the back and forth where no matter what I say, you're going to go, oh yeah, I would, because you know my angle. You know the angle now. I've already proven it. This isn't, by the way, and I'm not going to keep placating the not all, because when trans people get targeted, we don't get the not all. When minorities get, and immigrants, they don't get the not all. Not all. But not all. Don't worry. Not all. Obviously. Okay, obviously. But we're going to do this thing where we knuckle down on, like, no matter what, yes, I would, Let's just take, if we went back to statistics, and I'm not going to keep going around with this, but because if you don't know what statistics show, it's not my community. It's not trans women. It's not trans men, that we don't hear a lot about when it comes to the bathrooms. And we don't want to attach it to the fear of men. Nobody's screaming about how they don't want women in a men's room. Why is that? Oh, no, it's not because we're afraid of men. No. This is another layer, though. What it actually is, too. It's not just a fear of men, but it's another layer that certain demographics really love, thinking that they can tell someone what to do. And when a trans woman presents as a trans woman and a woman, Well, now you've just become someone who's a little helper, second best little lady that I can tell you what to do. That's a part of it too. I can dictate what you ought to be doing. But I'm not going to look inward or look at my community or my demographic and go, you know what, statistics show that we're the highest in a lot of things. Why don't we work on that and put more focus on that and raising good men from boys? I'm not going to lie. I'll go back, I have no problem going back to back with you guys, but it's pointless because it's just nothing sinking in. But I was bummed to see there was a child in the last one, that you had a child or a grandchild. I don't know. Because I've seen the difference when you raise someone to understand something. You see what I'm saying? To just be open. And when they're not. So we can dance around it all we want. I know, and every woman in this world knows. Unless they don't. Thank you, Ronnie. Yeah. All right. Well, and the thing is this. I'm talking about this as a whole, the way that people talk about the trans discussion, which gets brought up even no matter what I'm talking about. Just people like to do that. And what I'm going to say is that I will keep responding to you guys until it gets old, because I think it's important that you get used to this type of energy when you come in thinking that you can say whatever you want. You're going to get called out. I'm going to invite you up to talk to me. And I do occasionally get seen in public. Tell me your thoughts there. Tell me your thoughts there. So, I know that this is an issue, but I also know not all, but I don't need to say that. I don't need to say it because I'm sick of placating. No other demographic gets that. The toughest and the strongest, but yet needs to have hashtags to say not all, but we don't do that with African American men and women. We don't do that with my community. We don't do that with women. We don't do that with immigrants. We don't do that with anyone else. But for you, special. We'll do it. Because you're tough. Don's, you bumped my cart in the grocery store. I'll know it's you. I'll know it's you. But this is something that I do think that everyone should get a little bit used to. And because it's not coming from me. This is truly on a molecular level in our DNA. The return. And the identity and the oppression and the conditioning that so many women have gone through to believe they had to be a certain way is not going to work because so much is at risk. And y'all have shown many. I see who's rising up and speaking about what's going on here. I see it. Am I alone? Do I see the mouthpieces that are speaking about injustice right now and corruption and the ones that are, it is what it is? Hi, Ty. It is what it is. Who do we hear that from? The ones that are rising up, I want y'all to pay attention to, even within the House, in our government, who's rising up and who's calling this shit out. I don't care what's by their name, D or an R. Tends to be the D's right now. Tends to be what they call the squad, which does have a guy, Greg Casar. I talk about him a lot. He was my councilman. Jasmine Crockett. I will never get sick of her. Texas represent. Because I don't care which side of the aisle you're on when you're holding corruption and oligarchs accountable. I don't care. I don't care. Not my business. Because I can be objective. Exactly. Janet Mills, thank you. Mm-hmm. And so, in the face of the very people they seek to harm and minimize and mute, the very people, the demographics that they seek to tend to be the most vocal, tend to, I don't know, rise above it. That's interesting. That's strength. It doesn't take very much strength to be complicit. Not at all. To avoid confrontation with somebody. These women and men are facing this confrontation head on, with all the costs and risk. Yeah. I don't disagree that we're all human and we should love one another. I actually speak about that a lot. A lot. The thing is that I'm not the one that needs to hear that. And I mean this lovingly, nor is pretty much anyone in my chat. And I don't think you meant it in a crappy way. I think you meant it like in a general way. And I agree. What I'm going to add though is that they are divvying us up in as much of as many separate categories as they possibly can. Okay, that's intentional. And there are people who are not in elected office who are very gleefully enjoying this. That's sad. That's not viewing people as human. That's not viewing people as deserving of dignity, respect. Exactly. Karen says, I'm done rolling over and not having a voice or a right. Here's what I'm going to say. I agree. But what I'm going to add to that is that it's not going to be handed over. Because for some of them, this privilege is all they have. They don't want to give it up. But you see, women are strong and patient. And we've been patient. And we will rise up. It will not become a Handmaid's Tale here. It won't. I'll say it on all 10. It will not. Thank you, Mary. If anyone is expecting that or hoping for it, you do not know the check that will not be able to be cashed, because it's beyond any puppet that's in an office. It's beyond you, and it's beyond me. And I would not pick a fight with that one. The energy that I can feel with this counterpart to the father, the patriarch, this energy that I can feel from her is not an energy that I would be picking bones with, if I'm being very clear. It's fierce. And it's been through things. It's seen things. Has a tough stomach. Make sure you can match that. Or, even better, you can decide very easily that you don't need to oppress people to live a happy life. You don't need to push people down to feel good about yourself. You don't need to take rights from others because you think it will give you more somehow. And when I say the return to the matriarchy, guess what? No one's oppressed in the matriarch. That's a patriarchal thing. No one's oppressed. No one gets held down. That's kind of the better part of it. I know. Y'all, keep your eyes open. That's what I'm going to say. And I've said this a long time. Keep your eyes open. I spoke about how each demographic, different demographics, are watching this machine break apart and crumble. And this is going to be on a large scale, the collapse of the empire. This is also going to be in a very small, in your life. The very people you might have feared at one point, the very people that you might have thought were strong, the very people you thought would protect you. Pay very close attention to their obtuseness, their fear. Because when you sit down, it's not because you're so strong and brave. You sit down because you're afraid. You sit down because you are afraid. So pay very close attention before you get yourself all up in a tizzy about fear. That's what you're facing. And trust me, we've gritted through worse. But our time is now. Okay, well, any squirt who is of age could get a hold of one of those, Mikey, and be the biggest, baddest thing this side of the Mississippi when you aren't reliant on that. That's what's wrong with Americans. You aren't reliant on that. Oh, Mikey, I'm sorry. That hurt me so bad. This coming from the guy that says, oh, yeah? You see what I can do? I'll get you. The most American thing ever. I'll get you. I don't need one. Not that we don't need to go into that, but catch me outside without one of them, pal. I'm just saying. I don't. I don't need one. I'm not saying I can't talk about that, but talk to me when you can stand up for yourself, defend yourself without one. Then we'll have a chat. Until then, keep it with you. Oh, y'all are gonna get it. I'm so tough, Americans, so tough. Oh, look at me go. My God, heal that. And why do you need, where did that, and from the bleachers, my God, what were we even oh, yeah, well, I got this. Oh, Mikey, you're scaring me. You know, I was a Muay Thai kickboxer, and I've taken down men. I'm imagining you're not a 256-3, but if you are, I got a couple of them on my record. But this isn't about threatening you, because I didn't want on here to threaten you. You came in talking about how you're going to be just fine with your, which you don't realize how weak that actually sounds. Heal it. Be strong with yourself. Heal it. Heal it. Okay, Mikey, now you're really hurting my feelings. I can't reply. You're right. Let me see. Let's share yourself. Okay, 1 follower. Dude, why are you guys so obsessed with me? Weirdos. Is there like nothing better to do? Nothing? And he's not the only, like, to say that with your whole chest. Yeah, go back to Reddit. Go back to your people that Reddit. But, like, to say that, and I'm like, Stacy, my blood pressure doesn't go up because here's the thing. I'm actually going to share this. And to all my guys watching, I want to say this lovingly to you guys. I've worked, and this is just important, I've worked with men. It's not a secret. I talk about men all the time. I talk about women all, whatever. That's not a thing. I know how my appearance gets me pushed, but I can't, I can't baby that because people want to assume things about me. Because my appearance just and walking and existing says that I don't need a man. That's why it triggers men. That doesn't mean I don't like having them around or having friends, whatever, but I don't need one. And that's scary and bad and should be targeted. But what I'm going to add to that, additionally, is I spoke to a friend about this. We had this major revelation, okay? Thank you, Jenna. We had this major revelation about all the different types of women that are kind of in different positions right now. We're talking about building the community and stuff. We're talking about how there is a lot of women who are essentially trapped in their homes, okay? And maybe a little bit more afraid. And then we have women like me and some others that aren't, because one thing that our sexuality might have helped was we can't get each other pregnant. Don't worry, I tried. Can't do it. Can't happen. So we don't get into this, 18-year commitment with somebody that could be a complete a-hole, or get married into something when we're young and never really know, And while I'm not saying that these women are sheltered in a lot of ways, it's a little different when you have been in the active, workforce. I'm going to say this. The workforce in male-dominated fields, like I have, and many others of my friends. And you've seen men fail repeatedly. And I don't mean this in a bad way. Women fail too. But Men do as well. And behind every successful company, though the executives, there are women holding it together. You see women excel, you see men fail, you see this balance. That lets you know that we can do what they do. And they can, we're not so different that way. So we get to see that in real time. It's not a matter of gloating, it's just what it is, And we see it a lot. So when it comes to governing ourselves and creating communities, we have all the confidence in the world because we've ran companies for men who took credit. We've seen it real time, repeatedly. So we're like, we don't need this. We don't need to, there is no reason for us to be suffering like this because women can build. I'm a builder, Women can do a lot of things, as can men, but it seems that a lot of men, because I've been told, well, who's going to build it? When I talk about me, who's going to build it? Gotcha, little lady. I'm a builder. I myself use silly that sounds to a builder. And that fixes your guys' crap all the time. All the time. Thank you, Donna. Who's going to build it? Well, I will. Because I'll have some free time. Because I won't be going and fixing the remodeling hazards and disasters that you guys do. Not all. I've seen good work. But when you see this day in and day out, and you see the running theme of how everything works, the business of everything, and you see it day in, day out, you get very confident about your capabilities. You're not incapable because you were born with a different gender marker. And you're not more capable because you were born with one. You see? Now, I know that's offensive to certain people. It shouldn't be. It's the truth. Thank you, Texas. So, this is why so many of us are ready. Is because a pickle, do you need pickle jars opened? Like, some of us are quite muscly because we're builders. You know what I mean? Like, I can bench quite a bit, but you know what I mean? Like, but my point is that I wish that men led with their value of what they offer on an intellectual and emotional level. Because the physical stuff is easily replaced. I promise you. That would be embracing your feminine. Lead by what you can offer as a man by way of support intellectually and emotionally. Thank you, Cynthia. But that's never where you guys go. It's the physical stuff. That's sad because there's quite a bit to be offered with men when they want to. In friendship and emotional and intellectual. I've had wonderful intellectual conversations with men. Why is that not? It seems to be the physical limitations that certain men just really enjoy having. That will be taken. Do not define your masculinity to your physical strength and body because that will be taken. If you're lucky to live that long, it will be taken. It's all temporary. What will you be when you're not the strongest person in the room? What will you be when you can't open the pickle jar? Does it make you less of a man? No, not at all. Not even a little. Thank you. I speak on Indigenous quite a bit too. Not for, but yeah. Cool, Joel. Lady or guy, what are you defending? Just be yourself and leave people alone. Well, here's the deal. This thing's called a TikTok Live, and it's not mandatory, and you don't have to stay here. So what you do is you hit that X. Zips you right out of here. It just does. So that's what you do. Sometimes I flip through, and there's just, not my flavor, and I just move along, I just find my way out. But I know you have to say something because these thoughts can't just be left unheard, right? Thank you, Renee. I need help opening pickle jars sometimes. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, sometimes pickle jars can be a little rough, but my point is, exactly, like, but this is stuff that, it's always the physical aspect. And that's why I'm like, that's going to be taken. And I've seen what happens to men when they no longer have the physical strength. And it's sad, because there's much more to men, if they will recognize that, than their physical ability, their physical strength. And by the way, I'm stronger than a lot of men. And I've seen the reaction that that's gotten. I did not get standing ovations when I could bench more than the dudes, or do more push-ups, or do anything. It's just not how it works. Having said that, I don't define myself by my strength. It will be taken one day if I live that long. So I better have a lot of strength in this big old forehead, because that's what I'm going to need. That's what I can offer. So don't limit yourselves that way. And sure as shit, don't use it as a tool to trump over someone. You know what I mean? No pun intended, but you get what I'm saying. Oh, totally. Yeah. There's all kinds of things to release the pressure. But what I'm trying to say, everybody's really on this pickle jar thing. Well, you know, those pickle jars are really a pain. All the dudes are like, yeah, we don't want to do. Can I lift boards or cinder blocks or something? My point, I know, but what I'm getting at is that I've had, like I say this, like I've had wonderful connections with both men and women. Wonderful. And I've seen, you know what I mean? And what's sad is these men who come in here and say all this stuff, this is all they have, is their physical body, their biology, and maybe their strength and their privilege. And though it gets frustrating because that strength and privilege is often used to harm, heal it, because you're more than your strength, and your privilege could be used for something better, to advocate for those who are marginalized, to advocate for those who are targeted. This mindset, the mindset that I keep seeing in here of if someone can't beat me, I will take you. You are keeping a colonialist mindset. That's how it starts. But additionally to that, you don't have to. You don't have to pick that up. You can be a person different than your ancestors. You can be a person that is a lot of you are generational curse breakers. That's going to take your strength. It's going to take your feminine. It's going to take you being feminine, acknowledging the power of your feminine within yourself. That's there whether you like it or not. Whether you think it's the worst thing ever, it is your salvation, it is your strength, or it can be something you ignore and demonize. Your call. But this mindset of if you can't take, that's what got us here. And guess what? It isn't going to fare very well for those. Because when you do know, when you've peeked behind the curtain, y'all are put up, this empire is put together with rubber bands and toothpicks that y'all didn't put together or make on the backs of others, on the land of someone else. And I talk about this all the time. Be someone who advocates for something better and advocates for all, understands the importance. When I say the importance of the feminine, it could mean women. What's so wrong with advocating for women right now? My God. That, like, I can't sometimes. I can't. I cannot. You're Irish, yeah. I'm part Irish. And I am German. I am French. And I am also Native. I did not grow up in the culture, but I do that is in my DNA. Sometimes we can't give away what we don't have. Sometimes, Mark, that's actually, I don't know what you mean by that, but it's correct. But you see, one thing I would say is that nothing is out of your reach, Like, I'm going to mean this, like, nothing's out of your reach. So, no, I'm sorry, very few people outside of, there's a handful, and I will say that, but very few have no empathy, have none to give. Like, there are people who are stretched and pulled, tugged about as tight and spread about as thin as possible, that are still rising up, showing up for people. That is strength. To be able to do that when you are spread so thin and so tired. It's important to dig deep down. There's something good to be taken from everywhere, anywhere you're from. Anywhere. Even if that place historically is a demographic that harmed, there's something good. But all of this happening it's a collapse that needs to happen, so go ahead. I've also seen it to fruition. I've seen how it goes. So again, speaking to women, I never want to see another woman drug out of any building for speaking her mind, and not a one woman gets up to help. Ever. And the women, the African American women who made content, who were making tons of videos, like, if they'll do this to you, like, what do you think what they'll do? Exactly. Understand that you are the backbone that keeps this together. Pull out your support until it changes and it gives you the respect that you deserve, doesn't silence you and drag you out by your arm. Thank you, Renee. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see that ever happen. And I do, look, if I could, I'll say this, Renee, I do believe that I see this happening on a very grand scale. I see a lot of different variations, but when I say that this isn't, I know it's not just me. I want to help others. I want to help others to actually construct and build. I would love to do that. But additionally, I know that this rising is happening within all of us. It's unique to all of us. And that's what lets me know that these places will likely be governed and facilitated and everything, like, perfectly. That the turn that is going to happen is going to be the return to the matriarch, the value of the matriarch. And men would be very happy for it. But again, much like we talk about Democrat, Republican, like they've got male, female. And as a gay, I'm like, how are you, like, what the act, like, and I get irritated with other people, with women in my community. Not all, again, but I can't imagine, and my heart goes, I mean this I'm being dead ass, and I'm not shaming anyone, but I can't imagine being straight right now. Like, I can't imagine this being, and I'm not being a dick. I'm like, I know y'all can't help it. Like, I can't help it. Like, it's just our bag. But to witness this type of hate from the very gender that you are attracted to, yeah, I would imagine that would be scary. You know what? I'll say this. I've never went on a date and feared anything, almost, as a gay person. And I say this to men as I say, like, I know what that feels like. When all the back and forth about the, who we're in our soft boy era, we're not gonna pay for things. Like, I understand that the woman meeting me is at a technically a scarier disadvantage because I'm bigger, I'm stronger. So I have no problem treating someone to dinner to thank them for taking that risk to come and meet me. It's simple. It's very simple. Mark, and you know what? People who tend to be people pleasers, that tends to be almost always the case. It's sad, but it's true. This is the part that we have to stop idolizing assholes. I mean that. I mean, we got them all the way up now. And it's got to stop. Because I don't know what it's going to take. But I'm sick of it taking already what it's taken. What it's taken already. I'm like, it's already taken enough. Thank you, Jess. It's taken plenty. And this, luckily, isn't something that needs to be violent. This just needs to be women leaving it. Living in community and supporting one another. They want to have this world, this toxic world of oppression. Let them. Let them. Let's frolic into the woods. Okay? And chant spells around a fire. Or whatever we're supposed to do. Frolic around the wood. Literally, that's it. Because if this is the, like, no thanks. Not worth it. Not worth it. Not even a little. But I'm not going frolicking into the woods because I'm afraid of this world. I'm frolicking into the woods because this world has been shitty and is getting worse, and it's detrimental to us as a species that we change and abruptly one, very quick, very fast, and this includes women. Oh, I love Puerto Rico. Jess, girl, you don't want to have me in Puerto Rico. But maybe you do. maybe I'll show up though. I love Puerto Rico. The fruit's good too. It's beautiful there. Exactly. Like, frolicking in the woods does seem good, but this is like, when I say this, I'm like, everything about this machine, this late stage capitalist patriarchal machine is held up by the fact that we go to work, we consume, we're addicted to technology, we are harming our planet at devastating rates. That no one, the fact that we elected someone who got in office and said, drill, baby, drill, I don't care. I do not care. I don't. I wasn't happy with the amount that Biden drilled, that he didn't get credit for. But I wasn't happy about it. I'm like, he's drilling like crazy. Though he didn't get credit, because that's how that works. Baby drill. Wanting to take resources from Greenland and Canada. I know that, Renee. I'm happy you're here because I talk about that a lot. I can't imagine. It's painful. It's painful to see the gluttony of it all. I say that a lot, and that's true. It isn't just that it's happening. Yeah, I was at Standing Rock. It isn't just that it's happening with greed, but it's also the gluttony. Did anybody see, there was a moment where somebody wanted to have their facey face put on a little mountain. We talk about that mountain quite a bit. And a $250 bill. Put my face on it. Because yeah. The mountain that I talked about, Mount Rushmore, which was the 7 grandfathers that looked over the Lakota land. That's what it was. Now, the faces of their very oppressors look down upon it. I've said this. I said it needs to be returned. They have not stopped fighting for that back. It needs to be returned. And we have somebody that wants his facey face put on it. When this shift happens, when we turn that and everything else, the state parks, almost every single one of the federal and state parks are sacred land. No, it'll never happen. And when this shift happens, everything, I mean this This will be things that are prioritized, because this is not just harmful. Like, it's not just harmful and disrespectful and vile with the history. It's gluttonous and obtuse. Who nominates themselves for things like this? But they didn't know. No, the one that got dragged out of the town hall. No, this is exactly how I started out, by calling out YT women, and saying, get it together, and very, very fast. I never want to see another video of a woman of any color being silenced and drug out without. And in fact, I want to see more women. I demand it, in fact. Or go live in the world with them. Go live in the world of men. Because in the world of the matriarch, it's all women. It's every single one of them. I've never stopped talking about this. Y'all know. Every single one. Thank you, Jess. We have forgotten marginalized and targeted communities for a long time, and I expect women to rise higher than the capacity, than other demographics, to be able to acknowledge, well, where a foul has been done. Yes, this has happened. Acknowledge it. It wasn't your fault. You might not have even been there. It's just, throughout history, marginalized communities tend to be overlooked during movements. And it's imperative that women who look, do not do that. If I see someone like that sitting, I will assume that you were one of the ones waltzing yourself like lambs to the slaughter. And okay. But I know we're better than that. And if the internalized misogyny can't cleanse out well enough, then enjoy it. But it needs to fast. You have to charge, grab that fierceness and that ferociousness. Because it isn't expected from you. But it is, it is expected of you. I want you to know that it is expected of you. Because it's all dependent on you. So cut it out. Rise up on behalf of one another. And remember, believe yourself, and this is where they get me. Believe yourself and know that you are divinely protected. You must believe it. I mean that. But even if you have fear, you rise up. I know, Jess, I hate it. I hate it. It boots people off all the time. Because of what I'm saying. Because these apps are moderated and ran by someone. By certain demographics. Lest we forget. Give me one sec. Woo! I'll grab some. Okay. You're actually right. I'll say this right now. Well, not right now. They're not full of crackers, but what they don't want you to know, and I'm talking, is that Without you, the privilege that they have, without you, if you are absent, it's gone. It needs you to survive. That's the power you have. I need you to rise up. I need you to walk out. I need you to speak up. It needs you to advocate. Because as long as you are complicit, it stays alive. Because it needs you. You are the backbone. Test my theory with me. It needs you. Thank you, Martin. So, and I know this. They don't push my content out. I'm one of the very few people you'll see. I'll get up. It'll go, longer I'm on. You guys are rock solid. That stays at this. And listen to what I talk about. Now, this is actually me being a little bit more fiery, if I'm being honest with you. But it seems that empowering women and giving them this information is mutable. A little dangerous. Yet we can have other lives go on and on and on and on about how certain men feel, how men feel about the termination of pregnancies, which we all love to hear. But this is I'm going to say this, everyone giving the correct information that you are a goddess, you are a fierce divine being. You didn't get to this moment to sit on your hands. You didn't get to this moment to look out at the future for your daughters and granddaughters and go, I look them in the face and say, I did nothing. I don't even have a daughter or a granddaughter. But I will not leave without saying that I did something. And I didn't stop doing something. For all women. And in turn for all men, but for all women. Because that's who needs our attention right now. Thank you, MJ. Thank you. So, I want to be able to say that. Exactly. We have strength in our numbers. We have strength in our diversity. See, I grew up in Ohio. A lot of people don't realize how multicultural Ohio is. They forget that it was a freedom state during the Civil War. Did y'all see Cincinnati? Did you hear about Columbus? When the schmazzies like to show up? I've been there for that. You know who rises up? Everyone. Everyone. And they don't stay long. Not at all. Now, when I found out what area they went to, I did have a good chuckle, because... But I'm going to say this. These are strong and brave women that don't just deserve our support, but they are an asset. They are a crucial asset. And I shouldn't have to. The history speaks for itself when you're well versed in it. I think all women have something to offer, but I will say there's something in particular about women who have suffered other systemic targeting, who keep going. These are the type of strong women that you want to have on your side. But we need to earn that. You understand? It needs to be earned. This isn't something of women looking at every other demographic going, what do you do? And I've been seeing that. You better not. Understand the assignment. We hold the line. We hold the line. Or you waltz yourself over like lambs to the slaughter. It is your choice. But I am holding the line for all of my sisters. Again, and in turn, my brothers. Is the antithesis of South Florida. Are you in Ohio now, Donna? Or Dawn? Sorry. Yeah, Donna. Absolutely, Heather. It's good seeing you. But that's the thing is when you grow up not sheltered, you get to know a culture, you get to know the plights. Like, you see the strength. I talked about this a few lives ago. I've talked about it a lot. And I am seeing women, all women, okay, included. But this is not the time for us to decide that certain women can be silenced and forcibly handled, regardless what they're saying. That's not. We're past that. I don't care what she's saying. You see what I'm saying? We've allowed women to be silenced, and so long as even when they are part of our demographic, and even when they are saying things that we agree with, we've allowed it. So stop allowing it. And yes, you have that power. We rectify the ideology. Hi, Jaded. I mean, honestly, it starts by taking every opportunity you can. I'll say this: like, no person is too small. There have been movements and there's been things that have been caught on somebody's cell phone in a town hall meeting, aside from a woman being drug out and silenced. There were people standing on business, and you never know when your act of kindness is going to prompt something major. Your act of strength, solidarity. You never know. So take every single opportunity that you can. Be brave, because I don't need to paint the picture of what this looks like if you're not. I know I don't. Every woman knows what I am hinting at. We have a and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this. We have a sitting president right now who extorted the Ukrainian president. Extorted him. Nothing short of that. I don't care who he is. I don't care DOR. It does not matter. Extorted him. Threatened him with a WW3. Oh, I know, Jess. I'm not letting up, though. I have been so careful. Oh, I know. No. Look, I know we're all aware of the changes to this app when it came back, right? But isn't that sad? The freest country. Someone who talked about how everyone was first campaign so sensitive. You couldn't say anything because everyone's too sensitive now. That's rich. Too sensitive. Yeah. That's why this is going to be an uphill battle. That's why it's going to take strength. It's going to take working together. Yes. Guy in no suit. But that's the thing, is when we have that type of abuse of power. By the way, threatening with WW3. Why is that a big deal? Because do you know what happens during W's? Do you know the byproduct of that? The underbelly that happens to women? I don't need to spell it out. I know I don't. On our soil. Because we're pissing everyone off. And it's nothing personal. They don't want to harm us. But at what point do we leave them no choice? You know what I mean? And this bold, brazen behavior is toxic. Toxic action without forethought. And anyone dare come in here and tell me that we're missing the feminine, which is the forethought, the consideration, the empathy for others, the impact that something might have on other people. I think we can collectively all say, there you go. I think we can collectively all say that that is what's necessary right now. That's what's needed. That's why this world looks like a freaking shit show, is because we have all action with ego from scaredies who don't give forethought to how it will affect anyone else other than them. And then saying we're missing the feminine, which is the consideration. Well, do you not think? And that's the thing, is I don't disagree. And I'll say this too, and I've said this a lot. Having a high frequency, trust me, I know all of it. It's real fun. You start messing up electronics, it's great. It's great. It's great. Sometimes can look like meditation, connecting with our ancestors, with the divine part of ourself, with the part of source inside of us, with nature. Sometimes it can be roaring, screaming into something like an iPad about relevant truths that need to be heard. Your frequency does not bounce around because you're passionate about something or you give a shit about something. Your strength, your masculinity is not defined by your woundedness, or it is. So fix it. Fix it. Healed people don't need to go around into lives and insult people they don't know, complete strangers. I have no desire to do that to anyone here. And unless you're in the top 1%, well, let's go ahead and say 10% of earners, I'm on your team. Healed people understand that, regardless. But if I trigger you, there's a prompt. Fix it. Fix it. It's not me that encourages brutalization and harming people. You're not even making, is that a sentence? That's a word salad. Okay, we exit you people. How about we exit you people? If you're going to insult me, just, give it a better shot. But you're not, because again, I'm encouraging you to heal that part of you that says, I need to go around and say harmful things. What's wounded in you? What's wounded in you that you need to do that? You feel you need to do that. Strong people secure in their masculinity, people secure in themselves. They listen, it resonates or not. They leave when it doesn't typically. But when you're triggered from a wound, you'll speak. You'll say something. You'll lash out. Unfortunately, I'm the wrong one. But you might catch somebody else on a bad day, so cut it out. Cut it the fuck out. This is not the time to be behaving like this towards anybody. Everyone's going through a hard time. Everyone's going through a hard time. So be nicer to everyone. Yes, I'm secure, you're not. Good job. Good job. That's what you took from everything I said. So, yes, I am. No, I'm not. You are. I'm not kidding. I'm being dead serious. Heal that. I mean that lovingly. Heal it, because you will be a better person for yourself and everyone around you if you do. I mean it. Feels better. Feels better to be healed. Feels better to look inward. It feels better to fix the things that you can. Feels better to not be upset at everything. You know? I mean, when you get upset with everything, I mean, it's in a rocky road. Oh. I know. God, Raymond, you know you're like the fourth dude to come in here and... Do you think you're my... Do you think I don't know what I look like, Raymond? Do you think I wake up in the morning and just get startled and confused? You think this isn't intentional somehow? My gosh. Keep up. Good try. Heal it, though. I do mean that. I mean, like, for real. Heal it, because you'll be better, and you won't look so silly. So it looks silly when people have to be, unnecessarily unkind. That's all. And I'm not the one, but you might say it to somebody who is. So cut it out. Fix that wound, buddy. Heal. Godspeed. My God. It's like he wasn't even a bot. It's like the gender thing is just, again, to the very people that are minimizing the play of gender and everything. Well, which one are you? Pick a side. Because you're not a man. If you want to be. I don't. I actually don't. Like, I really don't. I'm good. But, moreover, again, you're demonizing one. And that's why I gotta pick one. Is because, And it's not that hard. I get that I'm a little handsome lady, But I don't think that I'm, like, that hard to peg. I'm pretty... I've never taken testosterone, so it's my boyish good looks are all natural. Does that threaten you? Yes, it does eliminate the insecurities with them, which is why I'm actually trying to help them to see that, but they don't. You see, the thing is that I do bring this stuff up is because those insecurities come out when they're confronted with people. They come out in a manner that then turns violent when they get put into it, because that's what you do when your words are not meeting the grade. Then you get angry, you get violent. And again, I'm not the one for that, but be a better person. It's much easier. Feels better. Yeah. What's that? Take a look real quick. Yes. Actually, Jess, you just mentioned that, a lot of countries are having meetings about us. That's what people don't know, is how close we are to some things. Like, everything going on in the world, everything. And we can move it away from the attacks on women in my community and immigrants and everything, and everyone else. There's another thing that can happen that we're right around the corner. We're like tongue kissing this, and it's very real, and it's not all talk. Not at all. We've chosen the side, and we chose the wrong one. When I say we, I mean the elected administration that now speaks for us. Good job, has chosen the wrong side, and it's not a secret. And I don't blame them. Europe, Germany, Canada. I don't. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, I mean, this is a part of the distraction that they, like, it works on when you have a very singular mind, you see what I'm saying? Singular. Then you're just going to see me and I'm going to trigger you because, I'm a more masculine woman and I'm gay and I'm speaking against something that bothers you. I don't know. I'm not here to figure it out. I'm not going to. But I know these people who are obtuse to this have never seen it. I'm not going to answer any of this stuff. You guys are just wasting your time. I'm just not. You can keep trying, though, because show yourself. Show yourself. Everything is anonymous. Huh. So what I'm going to say is, Sometimes an empire collapses to birth something new. And the very people who are deciding to fight amongst one another and to use that bit of guidance of being all the king's horses and all the king's men, go pick on these people is what they say, and you go, well, yeah, sounds like a good. Instead of recognizing the harm and danger that is everyone's facing, not just one, everyone, and doing anything about it, speaking anything, get on your own live, talk about whatever the hell you want, show yourself, but understand that you're in the sights too. They just convinced you that you're not. But I'm not advocating for those who are going to willfully usher themselves like lambs to the slaughter. That includes women. But if this is something you're going to gleefully feel about and ignore and be obtuse about, well, you can ignore a blizzard or a tornado as much as you want. It doesn't stop you. It doesn't stop it from showing up and taking your house away. You can pretend a tornado is not heading towards you all day. Right? As a person who grew up in Ohio, tornadoes were common. I don't see a lot of people ignoring them, you know. The siren's going off right now. And we got people that are in the midst of the breeze, yelling out at gays or people different than them. Do you not see the tornado behind you? Absolutely, a leopard can, yeah, 100%. 100%. God, I know, Jess. It's so... Coming from demographics who we don't teach our people other languages or other cultures. In comparison, we're quite ill-educated, ill-informed. That's exactly what I would be speaking against. Become informed. It's going to be hard because, well, I don't know, freest country in the world where somehow being muted, but look into what is being shared. Look into this stuff. Tell me how expensive you think eggs or gasoline might be during something like that. And this is hoping that you're not on any program that's about to be removed. Or that you don't have someone that you love that is. A lot is about to be slammed on your plate while you're up on that hill screaming. So pick where you put your energy. But make sure you've surveyed all around you. Because that wind is not a breeze, my love. It is a tornado. Hey, Lois. Good to see you. I can't even disagree with it. Exactly, Mark. Exactly. This is why I've said, I've talked about this a lot. We are always the ones that show up. When it is detrimental to human life, and I'm saying, hey, it's time to show up, every one of us. It's that time. I know the waters don't look like they're raging. I know that the breeze feels like a breeze. It's a tsunami. And we have to rise up. And that does mean standing alone sometimes. It does mean taking a risk. And what I mean by that is it does mean you do not allow people to be silenced who are raising awareness to this. And you sure as shit don't clap about it or be excited. You advocate for everybody. Yeah. Lois, I told people a year ago to lose their ego about moving back home, living with their family again. That other cultures do this all the time. That we were the ones that made you feel guilty for not having your own place or having your own whatever, and that was all to make you struggle and strive towards an insurmountable finish line. And it isn't about how, again, when you no longer need to validate yourself externally, which means I validate myself with the approval from others, then you don't care what people think. You're doing what's best for you and your family. Exactly. Yeah. Grow your own is what I'm going to say. That is a rabbit hole I don't think Americans are ready to go down. I mean that. Like the severity of it. And what many people willfully voted for. Exactly. The worst things go in the foods that tend to be eaten by people at or below the poverty line. What they can afford on their limited income. We have elderly people who need nutritious foods, who are dependent on things like disability and Social Security. And that's being looked at as waste. And anyone being okay with that is mind-blowing. So I tell everyone, this isn't the time to give a shit what people think. And what I mean by that is do the right thing. Do what is best for you. Do what's best for your family, so long as no one's being harmed. But I have not stopped telling every American since I started my platform to know how to take care of yourself. And a tool of rage that keeps getting brought up in my chat is not going to keep you alive the way you think it is. And if you think it is, then that means you are a liability that is going to take, steal, pillage. Behave like a coward. Instead of learning how to live, you would rather harm people who did. There is a big shocker. Relive a little bit of history there. Instead of saying, I have this, so I'm okay, say, I know how to find and purify water. I know how to keep myself fed. I can show someone. I'm not a liability. If everything got shut down, I could keep myself alive with nature. Learn that. All of the times that you'd be spending, all the money and energy you'd be putting into a pew-pew that you think, this lets me know, that you think is what is the best thing for you moving forward. Is it? Can you find and purify water? You know how quick dehydration will take you out? Well, actually, you kind of can. I was going to say, can you mend an infected wound? But I'm like, well, actually, you pop one of the little things that go in there, and you can put a little bit, but you got to light it, and it burns. It'll seal it. It'll hack for you. But that's about as good as that thing can do for keeping you alive. But what we're talking about is because we're so terrified of one another. We're so terrified of one another, hey Mike, that's what we feel we need, because everyone is psychotic with one of those, and that's what they will do. Even if I know how to take care of me and mine, somebody's going to come. Then why don't we shift that culture of dependency on that? Because it's not tough, it's not strong, it's not capable. And it, by the way, does far more harm. But Americans? No, not with Americans. They will let everything get flushed down the toilet so long as you don't type this. No matter how many people get harmed, no matter how many children, no matter what. I'll be okay with this, and I have people that come in here with their whole chest and talk about that. Like I'm not well versed. Like I don't have one of those in the background, the back of my mind. It isn't something that's in the front of my chest that I brand proudly because I want everyone to know how capable I am. No. I don't care what you think. You know what I mean? I don't care because I'm not a liability. And I'm happy to be able to say that. I can help people. I can help people to keep themselves alive so they aren't a liability to somebody else. And we, by the way, we need to give a shit about one another. When you think this stuff, when you think about that being the only thing, imagine your grandmother. Imagine your mother. I mean, like, imagine the people you love with your very own mentality being subject to your mentality in a different vessel. That's called empathy. It's called saying, I would not want that. Or it being done to you by somebody more capable. I know, everybody's a top dog with one of those. The participation trophy. Purchased at just shy of $1,000, right? Everything you'll ever need. Absolutely, Lois. There are plants that they can help with everything. Everything. Well, you don't have to give up coffee. Just stock up on it. Coffee doesn't grow as well depending on where you're at. It likes a warm, humid climate. Anyway. I used to drink a lot of that too. And I don't drink it anymore. But this is the time, exactly. Yeah. This is the time where a lot of us that are aware of this, especially women, because again, the community I will be building and would like to build will be for women. To keep women safe, because it's not something that women get. It's not something women are afforded. And to put it together and quick. Yeah. I mean, I tell people, we've all seen, we got to witness a little bit more than normal if you're not an active service member with apps like this and other ones, with what was happening on the other side. The other side of the big lake. The one where a very disgusting video AI generated came out of not too long ago. There's a lot of sacrifice. Those children, those women, those men. Can you meet the strength of them? Nothing. Everything withheld. Nothing. And it's gone on for this long, and this and the fact that we still have Americans who scoff and mock and dismiss that could not measure to half of the strength to any one of those 5 or 6 year olds. You see what I'm saying? We've made enemies. And this isn't about me. It's not about me or my life. I'm not afraid to leave the realm. It's about a future, having a future. And Americans realizing that it doesn't have to, nor did it ever have to, look like this. This is not new. The harm that has been subject to women. When I read to you guys the MMWI statistics, the indigenous women, those figures were from 2016. This isn't new. This isn't new targeting to women. The scope has just been broadened. And if you want to know how vile and how bad, ask the demographics that have been targeted the most. And you want to know what it feels like to be ignored, ask the targeted demographic. 98% of those cases go unpunished. This isn't okay. It's not okay. It's never been okay. This place has never been great for everybody here. It doesn't have to be that way. This behavior that we're witnessing that many are identified is not okay, and it isn't strong. Even if you're a person who doesn't identify with the administration and the politics and everything, if you are a person, and we know who, because there's one demographic that comes in here, that is triggered by understanding that you have both a feminine and a masculine, that's upsetting to you. That's how it's going to get rough for you. It's not going to get rough for women. Women are used to rough. It's going to get rough when you don't know how to identify and relate and embrace that version of yourself, that part of you that is there. You'd rather be angry and ignore and be dismissive. Everyone's watching. And I'll say this to those guys that behave that way and dismiss women. Everyone's watching. Women are watching the protectors sit on their hands. Be okay or complicit with what's happening. Justify it. Downplay it. Think it's a casualty of existence that they don't pay. A toll that they don't pay. And that's okay. It's fine with them. No, they have not, Jess. But what I'll say is we don't need that. The fact that they have hidden our power, our connection, our divinity from ourselves is why anyone would think otherwise. We don't need anyone to protect us. We are fierce. We are quite literally lionesses. And you can remove the muzzle. You can do it. You may not have put it there, but you can take it off. Take it off. Now is as good a time as any. Now is the time. As this future transpires and things happen, I know where I'll be standing and I'll know what I have to say. I know. But it is important to connect with that. Connect with that part of yourself as well, as a woman, that you don't need protected, that you don't need validated, you don't need someone to agree that it's rough or bad. That because somebody disagrees that it's rough or bad, it doesn't make it less valid. You see, what we're witnessing is the short-sightedness of I, as one demographic, can dictate and decide how bad it is for everyone. And if it is bad for them, I can tell them what I think they ought to do to improve it. Because I think I can speak to all plights of life. Nobody's off the chopping block. Sadly, unless you're at the tippy top, you're not either. But they will use you if you let them. If you're obedient. See, I've never liked bootlickers. I've never liked the type of... You see, women have a natural rebellion around them. They just do. Okay? They just do. It's enticing. It's attractive. Complacent, dismissive is unattractive. Simple. Simple. Well, right now I'm talking about the plight of, I don't know. I want women to connect with that, though. I want men to as well, but I'm not going to hold out for y'all. You do or you don't. You do, you don't. You realize that that's where your strength comes in. That's where your mental fortitude, everything comes in. And it's not a bad thing. Or you don't. I'm not going to talk you into it. But women. The wool was pulled over your eyes. And I think I don't have to explain how much. But I will say that I am learning inklings of the caliber. And it's a lot. But learning that lets me know what was so necessary about all the effort. Remember I said you don't spend all that effort for something that's benign, right? For a force that could be easily squashed. Thank you, Jess. For a group that could be easily dismissed, muted. There's a lot of effort that goes into it. So I'm starting to understand why. And that's what I would tell women. Start to understand why. Look yourself in the mirror and remind yourself what a strong, bold, and confident person you are every day. What a force to be reckoned with, if necessary. And the next time a woman gets silenced, any woman, and drug out of a town hall, you stand up and give it your everything to stop it. Everything. The time is now. It's now. You give it your everything. And when you see that happening, more of you jump in until they know that we work in teams. We look out for one another. You can't harm one of us and expect the rest to be complicit. I never want to see that again. Ever. Y'all thought I was just going to walk out. I was going to get something though. But that's it. That's it. I've kept a little bit of my energy a little bit tight. Just because I've been working through a lot of these feelings. And what I'm witnessing. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Perfect time to get off. Be the force to be fucking reckoned with. Grab that and your mitochondria, that activation in your DNA, the power and strength and wisdom of your mothers. Land wherever you need to, but grab it. You will need it. And don't ever let one of our sisters be silenced again. Those days are done. So fucking let's start acting like it. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's tough. Yes, yes, yes. All of those things. Rise up and stand and protect your sisters now. Now. Oh, Justin, you have no idea. But I do love you all. And I believe in you. Very much. Have a beautiful night. Connect with those aligned planets. Remember what you are. All of your stories are valid. And all of your lives are worth ferociously fighting for. I'll see you there.